Welcome back to Trek Sumo. I know it's been a little while since we posted a video, but we've been busy reviewing a few things. We've got a bunch of videos that are going to be coming up, and I'm going to be starting with a video review that's been requested a few times actually by some of the people who've been following my blog since it was Adventure Embassy and since I merged with James and turned into Trek Sumo. And to give a little bit of background, at least 2 or 3 years ago, I wrote an article about the Apricoat Kickstarter waterproof jacket, and it wasn't a review, to be fair. I never actually have got my hands on one of those jackets, so I never properly reviewed it. I wrote an article that was based purely on the fact that they were promoting their Kickstarter really heavily at the time. They created a little video and obviously the Kickstarter page. I looked at it and I just gave my thoughts about it, and to be honest, it was a lot of it was quite tongue-in-cheek, but it got quite a lot of attention because there were a lot of people obviously trying to find out about whether it was a good jacket or not. And when the jacket was ultimately released, there were some people that were disappointed in it. That's not to say it wasn't a good jacket, but a small number of people contacted me afterwards to say that they were disappointed in the result. And I did make a little bit of effort to get hold of a jacket and review it, but I couldn't get one without just buying one. I wasn't prepared to spend a couple of £100 on a jacket that I didn't think was going to be particularly good at the time. Now, Apricot have reached back out to us, and I think it's potentially because that article still ranks quite highly, even though it's not a review, and I'd be upfront, it's not an informed review of any kind. But they sent us both the original waterproof jacket, which James has written a review of. I've stayed well away from, given my prior history with that jacket, but I've got my hands on the Apricoat Adventure Down jacket, which I'm going to be talking about. So I did want to give that kind of context as to my background with them. I'll be upfront, I was a little bit negative about them when I first saw the Kickstarter. I thought that the way that they presented themselves, the idea of the ultimate adventure jacket as if they were doing something that nobody else had thought of before, it was a little bit silly. A lot of the features that they included were a little bit silly. I also thought, and I will say that I was wrong on this, that they were doing something that's quite easy to do on Kickstarter, where you make something a really polished promotional campaign, you bring a load of money, you then produce a fairly rubbish product that is just about good enough to appease your backers, or at any rate that you can't be accused of out-and-out fraud, and then you just disappear. And to Apricot's absolute credit, they didn't do that. They've turned themselves into a serious business. They sell the products online. They did do another Kickstarter for this, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing a Kickstarter to raise money for a new product. But they've turned themselves into an established business with 2 products that they continue to support and I think improve and continue to sell. So fair play to them, and you know, any suspicions I had about that were wrong. But let's look at the product anyway. So it's a little bit difficult assessing a product without, I think, referring to what it's supposed to be. And it's quite difficult to assess really what this product is supposed to be. They describe it as an adventure jacket. It's hard to know exactly what that means. A lot of the photos and videos they have around it are using it for things like skiing, for hiking in snow. That's potentially one use for it. They also, when you come to look at the features, you might see it more as something for general traveling, for somebody going on a slightly adventurous holiday, but maybe just traveling around a city who just needs a jacket for that. And it does make it quite difficult to assess whether it's a good jacket or not, because you can't really say whether a jacket is good or not unless you know what you're assessing it against. And that's the case with anything I review. You can't say that a Rab Belay jacket is too heavy for active hiking in, because that's not what it's intended for. So I kind of have to refer to, what is this supposed to be for, and I sort of have to take them at their word that it is an adventure jacket and therefore it's intended to be used for hiking. They claim it's a winter jacket, they claim it's highly waterproof, they claim it's water repellent, in fairness. They certainly claim it's a winter jacket that will go down to 10 degrees below freezing, so it's on that basis that I'll assess it. I think also to assess a jacket, it's probably worth comparing it to a couple of other things, and I'm fortunate that I have a couple of options to compare it to. This is, despite being described as the down jacket, it's synthetic down. I think it's a little bit questionable from giving it the title of the Apricoat Down jacket, but they do immediately say it's made from synthetic down, so I don't think they're trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I just wouldn't use the term down for a jacket like this. It's synthetic, it's made from recycled materials, which is great. So I have a couple of other synthetic jackets, both of them are Rab, and I think both of them are quite good comparators with this for reasons I'll come on to. The first is the Rab Cirrus Flex insulated hoodie. I have not done a video review of this, but I have done a text review on the blog, and I will link to that in the description. And the second is the generator jacket. This is the most recent review I did. Again, I'll link to it in the description. I will be doing a video of this. I just haven't had a chance yet. This is a great jacket, and I'll definitely going to be talking about it a bit more. But these are good as comparisons for a couple of reasons. So all three of these are synthetic insulation. That typically means that it will be slightly less compressible than down, so you won't get into quite so small a package. It's usually a little bit heavier, although that, to be honest, doesn't completely hold true, particularly with the generator. It usually performs better when it's wet, but isn't perhaps quite as warm for the weight as you would get from down. That's generically what you'd expect. So first off, the first thing you can see with the Apricoat is that it is quite a bit bulkier than the other two. The Cirrus Flex folds into its own pocket, which is neat. The other two come in a drawstring compression sack. So yeah, it is a good bit bigger, and I think their claim that it is highly compressible and really small doesn't entirely stack up. They also claim it's extremely light, and I find it quite funny that on the website they say it's super light, it's less than 1 kilo. Now, no one thinks that 1 kilo is the bar for whether a jacket is light. I don't own a single jacket that is anything like 1 kilo. I think you'd have to be looking at a very serious alpine mountaineering type jacket to even be approaching 1 kilo. So that's a slightly bizarre claim, but we can look at whether it really is that light. And I'm just going to weigh them here rather than taking the weights from the website, although you can just as easily do that, and I believe they're all within a few grams of what they claim to be on the website. So the Apricoat is 872 grams. I think that is really heavy, and you notice it when you pick it up, both in the bag or if you just take it off the peg. It feels heavy, and I just don't think you can claim it's a lightweight jacket in any way at all. The Cirrus Flex hoodie, which is a pretty lightweight jacket, I would say it's probably less insulated than the Apricoat, although it's really hard to assess exactly how warm a jacket is, other than subjectively how warm it feels when you wear it. But the Cirrus Flex is just shy of 400 grams, it's 399 on my scales, which is light. It's not super light. There are probably lighter things you can get, but it's a good lightweight jacket. The generator, which is pretty much the most robust, although the heaviest, most insulated jacket, synthetic insulated jacket you can buy from Grab until you get into those really serious alpine mountaineering jackets. So you would think it's a heavy jacket. That weighs in at 562 grams. So it's still, in fact, I think almost, if you add these two together, you're still only just about on the weight of the Apricoat jacket. So to begin with, it's not nearly as compressible, and it's a good deal heavier, and that might be fine if it's got other things going for it, and we'll look at whether it does or not. So if we get it out of the bag, it comes in this quite interesting shade of black. It's not, I don't massively like the aesthetic of it, but that's going to be really down to individuals. It's very low key on branding, which is quite nice. It's just got this tiny little Apricoat brand here. You can only really see the triangle. There is actually a kind of mountain shape behind it, but because it's black on black, it's mostly not visible. Just starting from the outside, I think, because there's quite a lot to talk about on the inside. It's got a hood. The hood is detachable. This is an interesting decision because this is exactly where they're adding weight. Zips just add weight, and that's one of the many reasons why this is such a heavy jacket. And I do slightly question what the utility of this is. I mean, it can be nice to be able to take the hood off. I don't particularly like wearing 2 or 3 jackets, all of which have hoods, because they all get bunched up around there. So sometimes the fact that most of my warm layers have hoods gets a bit annoying, because if you put 3 warm layers stacked on top of each other and a shell on top of that, you've just got loads of hoods. So being able to take the hood off isn't a terrible thing, but it's another point of failure. It's another point for cold air to get in. It's potentially another point for water to get in, and of course it's adding weight as referenced. So that may be a good thing or not, depending on how important it is for you to be able to take it off. It's got, similar to the Cirrus Flex and a couple of other similar jackets, these panels down the side that look as if they're designed to be more breathable. They're certainly not as thin as on the Cirrus Flex. They've got 2 layers rather than just the straight fleece that you have on the Cirrus Flex, and this additional layer of material on the inside, but they don't have the full insulation, so it should be a slightly more breathable jacket. The rest of it, it's got these baffled layers, very much like the Cirrus Flex, where it's sewn into baffles, unlike the Generator Alpine, where it's more of a continuous panel. Got a YKK zip down the middle that is rubberized, so it should be reasonably waterproof. Got a pocket on the outside. We'll talk more about the pockets. In fact, let's get into the pockets. One of the features of the original, the waterproof, especially once they started to get rid of the more ridiculous features like the safety harness, all of these, like, it's the best adventure jacket in the world, basically boiled down to it has loads of pockets. And they've kind of done a similar thing here. I think it has 11 pockets, and let's talk about those. So to begin with, it's got a couple of waist pockets, which are pretty standard. I really like jackets that have these pockets because I put my hands in them to keep them warm, and it's useful for the things that you're going to access most often. Less good for use with a harness, but it's not the end of the world, and this isn't really billed as a climbing jacket, so that's fine. On the outside, it also has a chest pocket. That's pretty standard as well. A lot of jackets, particularly lightweight ones, only come with those 3 pockets, and it's a way to keep weight down. That's obviously not a decision that Apricoat have made. They've gone for loads more pockets, and that's just adding loads of weight. So we have a pocket here. This has an additional feature in, which is a little reflective strap that can go around your arm. You know, if you're walking along a dark road at night. I'm really torn about this feature. I actually think it's quite clever, and there are times where I've been out and I've been walking along the side of a road in the dark, and I think, oh, this is maybe, you know, a little bit sketchy. It's not really something that comes up that often when I'm hiking, because by definition you're away from roads. This is the kind of feature I'd probably have found more useful on a running jacket. But it's kind of a nice to have. I don't think it adds a great deal of value. I don't think it's terrible. It obviously adds a little bit of weight, and you've got that pocket there. You've got another pocket down here. I find this one a little bit weird. I just don't know what it's useful for. To me, it reminds me of a ski pass pocket. This isn't billed as a ski jacket, but as I say, I think a lot of the promotional material shows them using it for skiing, and that's really the only kind of use I can see for that little pocket. It just doesn't seem to be adding a lot of value. On the other arm, you don't have any pockets, but then you go inside and you've got a few more. Internally, starting on the left-hand side, you've got a little zip pocket at the top. It's got a key icon. All of these are marked with what they think you should be putting in it, which is fine. So apparently you can put your keys in there. I guess it's not the worst place for your keys. It's certainly zippable, so that's reasonably secure, but it's not something that I've ever really felt the need for a pocket specifically for keys inside my jacket. I've got a passport pocket here. This is where I think it's a little bit strange as to what is this jacket for. It's very rare that I go hiking with my passport. In fact, I'm going to say I've never gone hiking with my passport. I can just about see some scenarios where you might, and there are places you go where you really want to keep your passport on you, so that's fine. But this makes me think of it more as a travelling jacket, for, you know, something you're going on a slightly adventurous city break and you want to keep your passport with you. That's fine, but that's a very different kind of use case to hiking. And again, I've never struggled to find a pocket to put my passport in. You know, it doesn't need a specific one there. Down here you've got a big pocket with a Velcro divider down the middle that lets you kind of separate it into 2. And that's marked up with batteries, torch and multi-tool. So you can put your batteries, your torch and your multi-tool in there. I think that'll just add a lot of weight and bulk. You also have the problem that I explained with the previous jacket, that the more stuff you put in one jacket, the more you're relying on wearing that jacket. And if you either take it off because you're getting too warm, or you cover it up with other layers because you're getting too cold, or you need to put a shell on, you're going to start to make it difficult to get to this kit. And that might not matter. It might just be nice to have your torch on your person, and that's fine. Again, I don't think this is hugely functional. It's just a pocket, and whether you want loads of pockets or not is up to you, really. On the other side, you have another pocket up here that's marked for your sunglasses, so you can put your sunglasses in there, great. And then one down here which is marked for a map and a tablet. I personally find it insane that you would put a tablet in here. I don't go hiking with a tablet. It would be heavy and bulky and uncomfortable, and I think it would make the jacket hang weirdly. Again, if if it's more of a city break or I'm going interrailing, that's a European thing for my American watches, then yeah, maybe, you know, if you're sitting on a train or you're spending a lot of time in bus stops and you just want all of your gear in your jacket where it's safe, you want your Kindle or your iPad or something and your passport all zipped up so you can't be pickpocketed, I can kind of get the use of this. But to me, then that's not a hiking jacket at all, is it? And similarly with the map, and I don't think any serious hiker would keep their map inside their jacket because it's going to be bringing water into the jacket. You're going to have to open up your jacket all the time to get the map out. Probably even a Fablond or laminated map is going to have water on it. You put it back in. It just seems crazy to me. That's why you keep it on the outside of your gear. But hey, that might just be me. It's got a couple of breathability zips as well, which I find quite interesting. There's a quite discreet sort of pit zip here, which opens up. We've got some mesh that would make it slightly more breathable. The other big breathability feature is on the back, where you have this huge zip along the back that you can open up. And again, you know, it's a trade-off. With the zip, you're adding weight. All of these things are the reason why this jacket is getting pretty close to a kilo, which again, I just find insane. And I think that what you have to ask yourself is, how useful is this? One thing that it makes me think is, this is not a serious hiking jacket, because surely most hikers are going to have a backpack on. So how useful really is it to have a slit along the back for breathability when you put a backpack over that? The other thing that makes me think is, you know, I've seen pit zips and so on raincoats, because that's where, you know, you want to add a little bit of breathability while still keeping yourself waterproof and let yourself cool down and vent and so on while it's raining. I kind of question why you really need that on an insulated jacket. If you're overheating to the extent where you want to undo the back and undo the pit zips, then, you know, maybe just take the jacket off. But of course, this is the problem of, if you've got all your gear in this one jacket and you're using it to carry everything, then perhaps you can't take it off. So now your only option is to undo the zip at the back and under the arms and struggle around in this incredibly heavy jacket with loads of gear in it all jangling around that's now too hot because you can't take it off. Perhaps I'm being unfair, but to me it just all feels like solving the wrong problems with the wrong solutions. That's my personal opinion on that. Finally, on features, it's got reinforced areas in the shoulders. I think that's quite nice if you are carrying it with carrying a backpack with it. That'll sort of help to prevent a little bit of wear and tear. So that's fine. It's not the only point of wear that you tend to get from a backpack, so you know, it probably would have been more useful to have a couple of other reinforced points, but that's fine. I think that's not a bad feature. The other feature, and the one that actually I am going to be quite positive about, is, oh look, I found another pocket on the right sleeve that I'd forgotten about. I don't know what it's for. You have these in-sleeve gloves, or half gloves that go over your thumb. I really like this. I think it does add a little bit of warmth. What it really does is it just helps keep the jacket pulled down, and I do find if I'm putting on a raincoat over a jacket like this, you do sort of get bunched up, and just having the sleeves kept down while you're getting in and out of other jackets is nice. Probably helps stop cold air getting up the sleeve as well, so it's that little bit of extra warmth and coziness. So I think that's not a bad feature. I'm going to do a bit of comparison with the other jackets, and to help with that, let's talk quickly about price. The RRP on this is £170. It is currently discounted to 119. I don't know what you can read into that. You know, sometimes people have discounts where really the discount is just the real price of the jacket, so you should see this as a £120 jacket, but they're presenting it as a discount, so I'm going to take it on face value and say this jacket costs £170. You know, it is what it is. That's the price they put on the website, so that's on them. By way of comparison then, the Rab Series Flex is £130 on the Rab website, and the Generator Alpine is £250. So it kind of brackets them nicely. This is the cheapest of the three jackets I've got in front of me. The Apricoat falls somewhere in the middle, and the Generator is a little bit more expensive, or, you know, a good £80 more expensive. So given that this is a cheaper jacket based on the RRP and a very similar price based on the discounted cost of the Apricoat, I think it's quite a useful comparison. It's also actually quite a similar jacket in many ways. So you've got, you know, a similar kind of style, probably fairly similar kind of thickness. I'll talk a little bit more about how warm I think this jacket actually is. These stretchy side panels, as I say, on this, it's just direct fleece, so it's just a single piece of material, which is the point really. If they're going to be breathable, they need to be breathable. To me, it doesn't make much sense to have breathable panels and then put another layer of material behind them, but that's obviously what they've done there. The Cirrus Flex has only got 2 pockets, the 2 hip pockets. It's a conscious decision not to have a chest pocket because they're trying to keep weight down. It's got a very simple hood, but it's stretchy, it's designed to go under a helmet, and it's really comfortable for that. Again, they're just keeping weight down. There's no toggles or zips or anything, so that's why it's so lightweight. And you know, I think this is a jacket where they've decided what it's for and they've built it to suit that purpose in a way that I just don't think they really have for the Apricoat. In terms of warmth, I think it's fair to say the Apricoat probably is a slightly warmer jacket, in fairness. I've tried to do quite a lot of comparison with wearing all 3 of these jackets on the cold days that we've had recently, and my general experience is that these 2 are similar, but the Apricoat is probably a little bit warmer. The Generator Alpine blows both of these out of the water. It's just a much, much, much warmer jacket, and that's what it's intended for, so that's what you'd expect. One thing that Apricoat claim about how they get this so warm for their alleged lightweight is this kind of reflective layer. I can't comment on whether that actually works or not. I don't know enough about the physics of materials. I find it a little bit surprising what I know about how insulation works. I'm not sure this is the most efficient way to keep you warm. Of course, reflective materials do retain heat. That's why people use shiny space blankets for emergencies and wear them after races and so on. But I can't help wondering, if this was so efficient, why no other manufacturer's doing it. But you know, maybe Apricoat really are on something that nobody else has got. I think that the proof is kind of in the jacket though, which is that it's a very heavy jacket that is only slightly warmer than one that's, you know, almost a third of the weight, and much, much less warm than one that is only about 60% of the weight. So, you know, make of that what you will. In terms of manufacturing, I think the manufacturing looks a little bit less high quality than some of the Rab gear. When you look at the stitching, particularly around the sleeves and the Velcro, very much so with the inside, with the pockets. There are some areas where the quality of the stitching just seems a little bit less good to me, and I wonder how well this is going to stand up to lots of use. But in fairness, nothing has fallen apart on it yet, and there are some nice details. This tape on the inside is quite nicely stitched. The use of the logo on the inside is a nice detail. It's got toggles here to draw it closed around your waist. So there's some good bits. There's some areas where it just feels maybe not done to the highest possible standard as you would get from a well-recognised brand like Rab or Patagonia or Arc'teryx or something like that. In summary, I just don't think I can recommend the jacket. I wish I could. I really appreciate them sending it to me. I appreciate what they're doing. I think they are working hard to create interesting and innovative products, but I also just don't think that the jacket stacks up particularly well against some of the really obvious competition out there. If you take it at face value that it's a £170 jacket, then there are just better options out there. Rab has the Cirrus Alpine, which is the heavier version of the Cirrus Flex without the breathable side panels. That's 165. That would be a warmer jacket than this. It would be lighter, it would be warmer, and I think it would be better made. If you want a breathable jacket, get the Cirrus Flex for £120, £130, which is the same price as this even with the discount. Again, it's much, much lighter. It's similarly warm. It's more compressible. It's better made. And if you want something that's really warm, and a real bomb-proof jacket to wear in any conditions, then you can look at something like the Generator Alpine. It is more expensive, but it's only about £80 more expensive. It's not a massive difference. It's still hugely lighter, and it's 10 times warmer. It just there's no comparison between the Generator Alpine jacket and this in terms of just warmth alone. I am struggling to see a really clear reason for a lot of the features on this jacket. I think if you were going traveling and you were spending a lot of time on public transport and you were concerned about just having all of your possessions on your body, zipped up, secure, maybe this would be useful, maybe. But there are plenty of other jackets out there that have a lot of pockets where you can put things in the inside pockets and zip them up. And you're still in the position then that what happens when you take your jacket off and hang it on the back of a chair, or you just get too warm, or it starts raining and you need to put another jacket on the outside. I'm not convinced that relying on your jacket to hold all of your possessions is the way forward. It's definitely not the way forward when you're hiking. To me, it's crazy as a way to carry things on a hike. I don't really think it's the way forward when you're traveling either, apart from maybe keeping your passport and your phone on your keys on your person. But other stuff you can put in a backpack, or even a waist belt pack or something like that if you're really concerned. But maybe, you know, if that feature particularly appeals to you, you really like the idea of just having loads of pockets, then maybe that's the thing. I do wonder if it could be a good ski jacket. I don't ski a lot, so it's really hard for me to comment on that. I think maybe the combination of warmth but also the breathability zips makes more sense when you're skiing, maybe, where you don't necessarily want to take a jacket off, but you're just overheating, and being able to undo the back, that might make more sense. The pockets make a little bit more sense in that context. I'd be really interested to hear from someone who uses this for skiing, and maybe they can tell me, Jake, that's what you've missed. It's not a good hiking jacket, it's not a good jacket for traveling, but it's a really good ski jacket. If that's the case, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. Otherwise, I feel a little bit bad saying this because I don't really like the jacket, but I am going to give it away. It's basically brand new. I've worn it a few times for testing, and we're going to give it away. The way we'll do that is give it away to somebody who's signed up for our newsletter. You can find the newsletter by going to the treksumo.com website. Again, I will put a link in the video description. All of the people who've already signed up for the newsletter, they'll be in the pot for this. And if you're not signed up, sign up. And when James is back from his expedition, we will do a draw, and one lucky member of the newsletter subscription list will win this jacket. Again, as I say, you might think that's not the best prize in the world given the review I've just provided of it, but equally it's a freebie, and you can always give it away if you don't want it. But if you do like it and have a go with it, and you think it's a lot better and you disagree with my review, then brilliant. Let us know in the comments and give your own thoughts on it. And that really wraps up the review. And as always, I would just say, if you did like the video, then please do give it a like, and please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. We're always trying to grow the channel and get seen by more people, and that all helps with being able to get products for review and being able to keep reviewing interesting things. And I think if nothing else, this has been a really interesting product review, and hopefully you've all enjoyed it.